What's up, YouTube? I want to spend just a few minutes today talking about meal prep. We are actually going to get into some prepping of meals, but I figured at first just take a few moments and talk about what it is and why it's important, and maybe why you would be considering going the route of prepping your meals ahead of time. So, there's a couple of reasons why you might decide you want to meal prep. If you're a busy person, it could be that you want more hours in your day during the week. So you're not stopping and thinking about what are you going to eat after class or after work and trying to make those decisions on the fly. A lot of times that's how we can get in trouble and maybe eat some things that we wouldn't normally otherwise eat. Could also be that maybe you're trying to focus on eating healthier or making better nutrition choices, and by prepping things out ahead of time, knowing what you're going to be eating, getting groceries for what it is you're going to be eating, and then cooking those meals ahead of time makes it really easy to grab and go, but also makes you much more aware of what it is you're putting into your body. What are you eating all day long? And I'm always a big fan of having a plan. That's with anything, but especially when it comes to nutrition, I find that the number one best thing that you can do to have good nutrition, to make healthy choices, is to have a plan. And a part of that is prepping. There's multiple stages when it comes to prepping. There's obviously the cooking part, which is what we're going to do some of today. It does not have to take all afternoon. It does not have to take all day. In the beginning, it does take a little bit of getting used to kind of figuring out a flow around the kitchen and like what could you make simpler or easier rather than making it too complicated. So in the beginning, it might take a little bit longer. But once you get used to it, you kind of get a routine down and you know what to do, what not to do. I think you'll find that it does actually become pretty time efficient. These days I can usually prep all breakfast, lunches, and dinners in about an hour, maybe an hour and a half max. And I usually do that on a weekend, the one time when I've got some free time, although today is Monday, so that got pushed to today. I'm still on break, so I've got a little bit of extra time to do so. And I'm going to actually cook up some chicken, cook up some turkey, and then kind of show you how to portion that out into meals and hopefully make this process a little bit simpler. So if you are looking for time savings, knowing what you're going to eat ahead of time and having it already in containers makes it so much easier during the week when you're always on the go. All you have to do is grab your food, throw it in your lunch bag, and get out the door. Makes it very easy that way. If you're looking at it for health benefits, health purposes, trying to eat better or healthier, then simply by cooking the food up ahead of time saves you from eating out or hitting up a fast food drive-through. And in that case, you've already got the fast food. It's already cooked for you. It's just your own fast food. So there's a couple of really important benefits that come along with prepping ahead of time. It does save time. It does save stress. You know what you're eating if you cook it at home, or even if you get those meal prep delivery services, you know what ingredients you're going into your food. They're usually better for you than if you were getting something processed at some kind of a chain restaurant or a fast food joint. So there's a lot of health benefits, but then also mentally and emotionally and saving time, I have found that to be a huge help. So a couple of steps in thinking, well, how do I even go about starting this if you're completely new to it? I would say check out some YouTube channels or some websites for recipe ideas, because people put a lot of thought into what it is that they eat and sharing recipes with other people and like, hey, this is easy, this is what I do, maybe this would be helpful for you. Think about what it is you like to eat. Maybe think about what it is you already eat and cook at home and see what can be simplified or what can be made in a way that you can cook it ahead of time, cook a lot of it at once, and then just put it in containers and already have it done. Whether that's mason jar salads, cooking up protein and vegetables, or however it is that you like to do. There's a ton of ideas out there on the internet. But step one is really just thinking about, what do I eat already? What do I like to eat? What would I eat if I was taking my lunch to school or taking my lunch to work, or even dinner or breakfast, whatever that may be. But just spend some time thinking about food. And then once you come up with some ideas of what meals you'll actually make for your meal prep, then the next step is writing out your grocery list. Now this is a huge bonus, because if you already know what your meals are going to be, And I actually have templates of calendars that I give folks, and literally it's an entire calendar. Sunday through Saturday, it breaks it up: breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. So you write out actually the meals that you plan on having for the breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks for each day. And then below that is just a lined list where you can put all the groceries that you need for the foods you're going to be making, which makes grocery shopping so much simpler because you're not wandering the aisles looking around thinking, well, what do we feel like making? And then usually you'll end up with something extra or something that you needed that you didn't get, and then that adds more stress as you're really hungry trying to make dinner and you're either missing something, need to go back to the store. So this is actually really helpful, not only in kind of thinking about what it is you're going to eat, but then also what groceries will you need to make that happen. Added bonus, by knowing that ahead of time, you can kind of shop around and cost compare to see what ends up being more budget friendly or what ingredients are at what stores. So personally, I've got Publix, Winn-Dixie, Aldi, Costco, Sam's Club, all within a super easy to get to radius here. In fact, there's multiples of some of those as well. And I know at this store, something might be cheaper than at this store, and this might have this brand versus that brand. So just really being more aware of what you're eating, and then that also kind of ties into how much you're spending on what you're eating. Because if you're on any kind of a budget, you not only want to eat well, but you want to eat well for a budget. So that's a little bit about meal prep, how it can help, why I personally recommend it. It's literally changed my life. I used to be one of those, I would go to work, lunchtime would come along, I would have no idea what I was eating. We would wander up and down the hall talking to our coworkers. Hey, what's for lunch today? Do we feel like going somewhere? And by that time we're hungry, so you'd usually end up going to the cafeteria or the burger joint or whatever was quickest. But none of us never had any idea what we were eating. Same thing on the drive home. Usually get off of work at like 5, 6 o'clock. By that time, already hungry, been driving an hour to get home, and whatever fast food was right there was the most convenient with the shortest line in the drive-thru is what I ended up getting. Am I proud of that? No. But I'm just saying that because most of us have done it. It's convenient, it's easy. But since I've changed to meal prepping and always having my food with me, I never end up stuck someplace hangry and not knowing what to eat. So it's also helpful in that regards. You can also eat throughout the day and just make sure you have all of your food with you. That way you don't actually get to the point of being hungry or even worse, hangry. So with that being said, let's go ahead and check out what it is we're going to be cooking up today for my meal prep. So to make meal prepping easy, what I like to do is just pick my protein, and I pick it for the whole week so I can cook it all at once in batch, and then I portion it out. So I'm going to cook it up and then portion it into containers. I do typically eat the same thing every day of the week. That does not bother me because for me it's more important to have that time and the money saved to just cook it all up at once and have it. That's not to say it has to be the exact same meal every day. For example, if I'm having ground turkey for dinner, I can season it up each time a little bit differently, throw in some different vegetables, a different type of salad or salad toppings, or maybe have some pasta or rice or potato or sweet potato with it, whatever it is that you want to have with it. So even though the base is the same, you've got the same meat, it can be seasoned differently. Ground turkey is a great alternative if you're making spaghetti for pasta or any kind of like spaghetti sauce or pasta sauce. It's also a great alternative if you are making tacos or anything like that. You can use this. It's a little bit leaner than ground beef. That's your preference, but just to give you an idea that there's a lot of different things that you can do with just this one type of meat. So I'll be cooking up some ground turkey today. This is a nice big package, so this ought to last me for dinners for the entire week. And then over here I've got some chicken. It was on sale at Aldi. Personally, I like these tenders because they're skinnier, so they don't take as long to cook. Just one of the nice little tricks that I've learned. If you get the really big thick breasts, they take a lot longer to cook. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put each of these in one of these pans, get them cooking. I am going to keep an eye on the clock just so we can see how long this entire process takes. Okay, so I won't show you every step of the way just because cooking can sometimes get gross, especially cooking meat. But you'll notice I did spray each of my pans. Now it's just a matter of getting the meat in the appropriate pan. I decided to put the chicken into the bigger pan because it looked like there was going to be a little bit more of that. Now you want to be very careful if you are cooking with raw meat that you're not cross-contaminating things, and that this is why I like to wear a glove. There you go, it's starting to sizzle. So I like to get my pans pretty hot to begin with so that they get just a little bit of a nice hot char there as they heat up. And I just realized I didn't get any chicken broth this week. Normally I like to cook it in chicken broth, but water will do. We'll season it up nicely. But it's just a matter of getting everything in this pot. Now this pot is going to get a lid, so after it gets some water and some seasonings, we're going to put a lid on it and it can cook in there, and this will turn into kind of a nice shredded chicken. Now we got to jump over here and then put our ground turkey in this one. Okay, so we got these sizzling pretty good. I'm about to flip these here momentarily so that they all get nice and warm on the inside. Then I'll add the water and cover them up with a lid. I'm going to cover the water just enough to cover everything, and what they're going to do is they'll cook inside the water. It'll be nice and hot and essentially kind of almost boil it, and then it'll be nice shredded chicken, easy to pull apart there at the end. And then here we've got the ground turkey. This one was a bit frozen. I thawed it, but it's still just a wee bit cold there on the inside, so I'm going to bust it up into pieces so it can get warm. Flip those all around, and then once I've got it broken into smaller bits that have thawed out a little bit, then we'll add some water to this one too and let that cook. Do a quick check-in. All of these have been flipped, so now they're getting cooked all around before we add in the water. Over here the ground turkey is getting cooked as well. This is regular ground turkey. You could also get ground turkey breast, in which case it would be a little bit more lean. It would have a little bit less fat. I chose this one because I was able to get more of it in bulk at a cheaper price. Always trying to weigh the benefit with the cost. If you've made it this far, congrats. I'm not going to walk you through everything because that would be a little bit too time consuming and nobody wants to watch an hour-long video. But while these are cooking up, I'm going to go ahead and get my salad and vegetables ready for the week. Okay, while that meat is over there cooking, now is a really good time to get working on what's going to be accompanying the meat. So first things first, salad. I have a salad with just about every meal. That includes lunches and dinners. So I like to have a nice big salad. And I keep it super simple. So here is a very large bag of garden salad. It's already washed. All I have to do is throw that into the bowl. And it's got some nice things like carrots and red cabbage in there, so it's not just straight lettuce. I also like to add in some baby spinach just for some extra green and extra flavor. Here I've got these grape tomatoes. I already washed them, which is why they're in this container, but that was a nice big bucket of tomatoes. And then, as I've mentioned in previous videos, the hardest part is to cut up the cucumber. So it's just going to be opening this up, throwing it in a bag or in a bowl, adding a little bit of spinach, tossing in some tomatoes, cutting up the cucumber, and adding that in there. So I'm about to do that, and then I'll show you the finished product. And here we have our finished product. Just some salad with some baby spinach and the cut up cucumber. That did just take me a couple of minutes to wash it, get out the cutting board, get the knife, chop it up. And then these cute little grape tomatoes that I picked because I don't have to cut them. So that's part one of what's going to be accompanying the chicken or ground turkey. But here we've got a bag of frozen vegetables. This particular one is called broccoli Normandy. It's got broccoli, cauliflower, orange carrots, and yellow carrots. The beauty of frozen vegetables, you put them in the microwave, get them all cooked up, and then you just add them to whatever it is you're going to have, and boom, there you've got vegetables. There's all kinds of different ones out there, so it kind of depends on what you like. These, I think, These came from Sam's Club. Costco has some in bulk as well. I like them because you get a number of bags like this. I'm going to put it in the microwave for about 6 minutes. It steams in the bag. They are ready to go and ready to eat as soon as they're done in the microwave. You can also just add them to your meals. You can eat them cold. You can heat them back up again in the microwave or stove later. So this is another nice way to just cook a whole bunch in bulk. So let's go ahead and do that now. Side note on frozen veggies in bags. Sometimes will have creamy dressings and things like that on there. This does not. This is straight up just vegetables. You want to be very careful if you get any of those that are seasoned or have any kind of creamy dressings that they're tossed in, because usually those will add up with the calories, the fats, and the sugars. Just an FYI. Alright, so here is the final product for the chicken. The turkey too, so this looks nice and done. I cooked them both for 45 minutes. I'm going to leave the turkey here for a moment because this one's going to be simpler. All we're going to do is put that in a big bowl, and then I have all of the meat I need for dinner. This one's going to be a little bit more complicated. All I did here was just kind of jab it around and move it and mix it, and because the chicken cooked for so long in the water, it really just kind of came apart. So now it's almost like shredded chicken. Just a lot easier to eat, and it's kind of fun. And all I did was continue to move it around like this. So now we just do an assembly line to get everything into the containers. So I always recommend weighing everything out because that way you know exactly what it is that you're taking in and not just trying to eyeball and give your best guess. Because usually if you do that, we're going to be wrong. No matter how often or how long you've been doing this, chances are your eyes just don't comprehend necessarily how much something is, and we usually overestimate. So I'm going to go for 3.5 ounces of chicken here. A little bit more. So if you don't have a food scale, I completely recommend a food scale. Put one piece back. Oh, so close. Maybe another piece back. Okay, not exactly 3.5, but pretty darn close. So we'll be happy with that. So that's part one of our assembly line. All of our other containers here. Next comes the vegetables. This one is up to you if you want to weigh this or not. Usually I won't unless I'm being extremely strict with my diet. So I just want to kind of here we go. So it's got about half chicken, half vegetables. Then you can come over here and you can fill the rest up with salad. Now this would also be a good point if you have any condiments or anything you want to add, hot sauce, mustard, anything to give it some extra pizzazz. Now would be a good time to do it before you add on the salad dressing. Now if you do, the salad. If you put salad on top of here, I would recommend waiting until the day of, or even putting your salad dressing in a separate container, just so you don't get nasty, soggy salad. So this is our pre-mixed salad. Put however much you want to. I like to use salad as a filler. So if I'm still kind of hungry, this will just kind of fill it up. And there we go. Put a lid on it, and that's lunch for one day. Now I'm just going to do the exact same thing with all of these here. Now some days my lunches will consist of adding some rice. Currently the meal plan I'm working on now, I'm carb cycling a bit, so I will incorporate some rice here. These pouches are great because you just put it in the microwave, 90 seconds, and it's cooked, in which case I would just add that to this as well. So as you can see, this ended up making plenty of ground turkey. So here I have dinner for every night of the week. I did end up with a good amount of chicken left over. So what I will do is I will probably freeze this, and then when I need some more meat, maybe next week, I can thaw this out and use it, and it'll save me from having to buy and cook all of new chicken all over again. So this will be with dinner, nice and easy. Add a salad. I will make one more frozen veggie bag because we used all of those up for the salads for lunch. So I'm going to make some more of those, make another salad, put all of those in the refrigerator. So when I come home from work or school, I grab my plate, load it up with my ground turkey, add my vegetables, add my salad, and that is done. So I hope you found this video informational, helpful, maybe got you thinking a little bit about meal prep and how to do it. You will notice that just about everything that I made today was on the stovetop, but there's so many different ways that you can cook food. If you want to bake, if you have an air fryer, I don't have one of those, but I hear they're all the rage these days. You can cook things up in an air fryer. If you wanted to bake something, you could actually lay out all of your meat. Let's say you're cooking chicken breasts, you could lay out a whole bunch of chicken breasts on a baking sheet, cut up some vegetables, cook all of that together at once. You have one meal. If you make enough of it, it could be multiple meals, and all you have to do is put it in the oven, let it go, and just check it every once in a while. So just because I use a stovetop doesn't mean that's the only way to do it. There's a lot of options. See what's comfortable for you, what equipment you have to work with. But even if you are just putting some thought into planning ahead, figuring out what you're going to eat, and if you can cook it all up at once, that makes it so much more helpful. I cooked the meat for 45 minutes. I like it to be really well done. So it's 45 minutes for the meat. While that was cooking, I did make the salad and heat up the vegetables. So that saved us on some time. And I have about 5 minutes of cleanup to go because I did use a bunch of pots and pans and need to clean those up. But luckily I have a dishwasher, so that shouldn't take too long. And then the only other thing was portioning it out into the containers. That took roughly 2 minutes. So in just about an hour or so, I have lunches and dinner prepared for the entire week. So I'm very excited about that. After this, no more cooking until next weekend. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day and have a great week. Bye.